Well, we're back in the shop. We just got this brute that we've been working on. We just got that all finished up. We had to make a little spacer. All in all, came out good. That 4.5 brute, we ended up buying that. I think I told you guys for 20 bucks. It fit on this deck that we had, and this deck, you know, it's still fucking brand new, boys. So we got oil into it. Always a good idea to double check, make sure. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I'll pull that out and we'll fire that up and see if she cuts. It's another shitty day. It's raining today. There's not much going on. Yeah, we'll get that pulled out. As you guys can see, another shitty day. So we'll probably pull it out just to here, fire it up, and then I'm gonna go and get that lawn boy in the shed in the back there, and we'll fire that up. And that thing revs too high, so I got to make a governor adjustment, and that's about it. Well, she runs good, so that's it. $20 friggin' lawnmower that we picked up, stole the good engine on it, put it onto a good deck, and there you go, boys. So that's ready for spring, even though it's a little chilly. I don't know if you can scent the breath there, but yeah, it's fucking damp, shitty, but this thing's done. And now we're gonna go. Oh, it's gonna be all muddy. It's gonna be all muddy. Yep. Well, we'll go back here. We'll pull out the lawn boy. This thing runs, but it revved too high, so I'm gonna have to probably pull this shroud, and then we'll take a look at adjusting the governor so it doesn't rev so high. So anyways, this is our new coach that we got, courtesy of our friend Wes. Fuck, it's a lot better than the one we had, boys. So she's leather, it reclines, although one of the ends is dickered. I think that end, there's like a spring missing or some kind of cable that goes from your little handle there, so we can flip it up and fix that. But yeah, it's a lot better than the one we had. So this one's got a real long cable that we put onto it, but you know, we don't care. For 80 bucks, you know, we'll put this on to Kijiji for 85 bucks, and somebody will buy it. You know, it's got a good deck, it's got 4 good tires onto it, and it's got a good engine. And for 80 or 85 bucks, I mean, you know, it's just a little push lawnmower, but somebody can buy that. You know, because you got to remember that, you know, some people, they don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a lawnmower. They don't want to go and buy a Honda or a name brand or nothing like that. So, you know, what we do basically is just taking engines off of one and putting them onto a good engine onto a good deck, making it work. And this thing has a brand new mulching blade. This one has a brand new mulching blade. So, you know, we put new blades on them. And yeah, somebody will scoop that up for sure. So we got this thing in here. I gotta take out a couple little bolts there and pull the shroud off, and then we'll have a look at that spring. I cleaned the carb on this, fired it right up, and it ran good, but it was screaming when we were running it. So I shut her down. We put it away in the shed. Well, that was in when it was snowing, right, in the wintertime. I mean, it's January what is it today, the 19th or something, 18th today, and yeah, I mean, we're getting rain. It's basically springtime, so now we're working on lawnmowers, boys. But yeah, I mean, you know, the work we do, it's kind of seasonal, right? Like, we kind of depend on the snow to push the sale of snowblowers and to get repairs of snowblowers. So when we don't have snow, we just work on lawnmowers and stuff like that, you know, like getting these ready. We got 3 lawnmowers, so as soon as spring hits, we'll be able to offload these and you know, get people started. All right, that spring right there, that's what I got to adjust. So it's probably the wrong spring. It's probably one that's either slightly too short or just has a little bit too much tension on it, so that there's a little less tension on the throttle, and that should bring down the RPMs. Well, she's still revving a bit high, so I might have to end up changing that spring out. So I'll change out that spring and put one with a little bit less tension onto it. Okay, that's a bit too low. So now's the part I got the air filter off. I'm adjusting this here. It's a little Torx head. That's the governor itself. That goes right into the engine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that little Torx there, loosen that off, and I'm gonna bring this up and move that arm in a little bit, and it should raise the RPMs just a little bit. And to adjust that, we're using a T10 Torx. If I can get a shot of that. Just a little guy. So you're gonna come in here, you're gonna loosen that right there, and then we're gonna move this up and that in just slightly. As you can clearly hear, that was a little too much, so now I'm gonna come in and adjust it. You can see I'm gonna bring it back down just a little bit, and that arm I'm gonna pull back just a bit. There we go. Once you get it to the right spot, you'll be able to hear it, right? You don't want it screaming, but you don't want it too low. So right there's the right spot. I'll go ahead and make sure that's tight. We changed the spring out, and now we should be able to adjust our throttle position screw there if we need to do some fine tuning or whatnot. Now we got a little bit of an oil leak, so I'm gonna have to see where that's coming from. Hopefully nothing's cracked. It might just be coming from the breather there, and I might have to adjust those two bolts there at the center of the screen, there and there. We got this thing for free, so I mean maybe it's a gasket, maybe it's a, I don't think it's a head gasket or anything. I think it's coming just from that valve breather. We'll bring it back into the shop and have a look at that. Yeah, there's a better shot of it there. You guys can see just over the full line. So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, just to let the oil from the oil, you know, the dipstick tube there, drain down. I don't know, maybe see if we can replace the foam on the handle here, and this will be a good machine. But you know, we picked this thing up for free, and for a carb clean, we didn't even have to replace anything. I think just I cleaned the carb, a governor spring, which is, you know, for us that cost is barely anything. I'm not sure if we put a new spark plug onto it or anything, but this thing is the easiest lawnmower that I've ever had to start up. You know, it's just, you barely pull the thing and it fires right up, but it's got loads of compression. So yeah, all in all, it's a good little score for us. It's another shitty day, guys. Another day. Still haven't used the plow yet because it's raining again. January 20th, and this is what we got. Unbelievable. Okay, so we pulled the shroud off of this. It was just 3 little 1/4 inch screws there, and I like to use extension sockets, just they're a little deeper. Looking at where that oil leak was, but if we're looking where that oil was coming out from, you can see there's some there, right where the valves are. You know, this is how you get into your valves. So it was leaking right at the bottom of the gasket. Now this is the gasket that come off, and as you can see, there's like a little indentation at the bottom there, right? And get a shot of it. Yeah, there's a little indentation. Problem was that whoever put a new gasket on, they never took all the old gasket material off. You want to do that. You know, if you're going to be replacing gaskets, you want to make sure that you get all of that shit off of whatever piece you're working on. Now, we have gasket material. It's just a sheet like this. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. and you can cut out a new gasket. So here's the old one, here's a new one that we're going to be putting on, and to do that, you know, we use punches, punch out the corners, and that's just for like a quick, you know, if you need a gasket and you don't want to run out to the parts store, you can do that. You can make your own. So here's the old one. There's not really anything wrong with it other than these small indentations, but it was leaking a little bit. The bolts were also slightly loose, but we're going to go ahead and put a new gasket onto it. I'm just going to scrape this, make sure that all the old gasket material is off of it, and then we're going to come here, and I don't want to have to take the shroud and everything off. I should be able to do it just like this, but we're going to come in and we're going to take just that little bit of gasket material off of there. So we're going to go in there and scrape it, make sure everything's clean, and do what we can. And then after I let it sit for a little while, remember I said I had to let it sit, I checked the oil level, and the oil level was fine. So you know, it was just because I was bringing it in and out of the door. And over here, if you guys can see, it's like high ground level's higher, right? Our garage floor is low. So I think just from tipping it, you know, back and forth and whatnot, it caused just the oil level to look a little different. But let me go ahead and scrape that, put the gasket back on, and then this should be done. Once the weather warms up a bit, then we can spray it down with a hose and, you know, degrease it and whatnot. There's a little bit of dirt there, and you know, a little bit of oil and grease, but all in all, this thing, we got it for free. Like I said, we cleaned the carburetor, we put a new spring onto it. I think we put a new air filter onto it as well. Yeah, governor spring, that's the only thing that we replaced. Spark plug, and just I had to adjust that governor. All in all, pretty good. This thing's an awesome lawnmower, self-propel, people like that. Okay, so we got our plate in with our new gasket. I'm going to go ahead and tighten those bolts up. You don't want to over torque these. It's a 10673 model number. There's your serial number, and it has a safety switch. You guys can see that right there. Inside of there's a little electrical pickup, and this lawnmower won't start without the bag on. So if you take this bag off, remove that. Here's a better look at it. There's a little pickup in there, and that picks up whether your bag is on or not. And just a little, you know, a little safety switch that Lawn Boy throws in there, and you guys should be aware of that. Newer lawnmowers, you know, they have stuff like that. So if you had this bag off, let's say you clean the carb, you did everything, and it won't start, you have to be aware of these new safety switches that they got. In today's world, with everything being electric, there's more problems to diagnose. This thing's done, the gasket's on, the whole thing's done. That's it. So we know that it runs, we know that you know, it cuts. It's got a brand new mulching blade onto it. Our money into this thing is basically nothing, just a carb clean and a little bit of time. We have a minimal amount of money into it. We'll be able to sell this for probably $125 once we get her all cleaned up in the springtime. Yeah, so like I said, once weather gets a little warmer, we'll bring it out and, you know, wash that off and get all the mud off, dirt off the tires, and, you know, spray some shine onto it, make it look like new. Well, we finally got the workbench cleaned off. I gotta just I'm just gonna sweep it off a bit. I'll pull this lawnmower down, move that table back. We're just getting the place cleaned up. You can see our new couch there. We'll probably have to slide that over a little bit, but we got Bellator 170 coming up on the weekend. That's Saturday night, so we're just getting everything organized. But just a short one for today, guys. We got a lot going on here. We're just trying to clean some stuff up and get everything ready for the weekend. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I upload weekly. As always, guys, thanks for watching.